Hi guys, and welcome to another video where today we're going to be predicting the scores and results of week 16 of the Premier League season. Now last week, week 15, you had a fantastic
phenomenal
weekend. You ended up, I think it was 14 points altogether.
14 points for me.
14 points altogether, and I had 8. And you actually correctly predicted 3 of the score lines as well. So phenomenal. One for you. You've actually gone ahead now with an overall total of 114 points, where I'm trailing with 106 points. In the comments section, we had a new contributor, and Johnny Cluett. Congratulations to you. You also had 14 points, so well done, and I hope you do well in the coming weeks. But for now, let's look at this weekend's fixtures of week 16.
Okay, so the first fixture is the lunchtime kickoff between West Ham and Chelsea, the London derby. Now, where do we start with West Ham? They haven't been at all good this season. They appointed the wrong man, in my opinion.
Not David Moyes.
Yeah, David Moyes. Wrong decision. And I have spoken to a few Hammers fans, and they said they didn't want him in either.
Well, Biscuit Boy Bob, you know, I know, but he's saying, we're going to beat Manchester City, and they were close last weekend. I've spoken to
a couple as well, and they've said that they don't want him in. But
last week they were doing really well against Man City.
Yeah, they looked
and in
good,
the end, Man City turned them over in the end.
I don't think he's the right man for the job. But Chelsea, what can we say about their form? They haven't lost in the last 7 matches, which is absolutely sensational. Antonio Conte doing so well, and for that reason, I am predicting a 3-0 victory. 3-0
win. I'm going to go for a Chelsea victory as well. I don't think it'll be quite as comprehensive as 3-0. I think they'll win 2-0. Yeah. West Ham, they did okay against Man City. Yeah. You know, they took the lead, and but it was just the juggernaut that is Man City. Just steamrolled them in the end, and it was inevitable that they came away victorious in the end. But I can see Chelsea winning this one 2-0, no problem at all, really. Eden Hazard is in fantastic form at the moment, and you could see him on the score sheet yet again. Okay, so moving on to the first of the 3 o'clock kickoffs, we have Burnley against Watford. Burnley, as we've said in previous videos, having a great good start to the season, solid, well up in the top 10, of course. Last week they did come unstuck a little. They lost against Leicester, but Leicester have been playing really well themselves, in brilliant form since they brought their new manager in. In this one, Watford scoring lots of goals, of course. Last week they drew at home against Spurs. Spurs on a bit of a downward turn themselves. However, I think Burnley are going to win this one, and I'm going for a 1-0 victory. You know, they haven't got the creativity of Robbie Brady, who I think was having surgery.
Yeah, he's having surgery
on his knee. But I think they're going to grind this out. They don't concede many, Burnley, and I can see them coming out with a 1-0 victory.
Well, for the same reason as that, both clubs have they both had a great start to the season. Marco Silva, Sean Dyche, phenomenal managers. They've got good squad depth for an established Premier League squad, and I think it's going to be a really tough game. But I don't think there's going to be a win in this one. I think it's going to be a draw between both of the sides, and it's going to be 1-1.
Okay, moving on, we got the next match, which is Crystal Palace against Bournemouth. Crystal Palace, he was actually kind of turning things around. I think they've only lost once now in the last 6 Premier League matches. And they're coming up against a Bournemouth side who drew at home against Southampton. I think they took the lead in that game, but ultimately Southampton scored against them, and it was 1-1. Palace at home, I think the likes of Zaha, they've got Loftus-Cheek in there, pulling the strings in midfield, getting on the score sheet, providing assists, and I think they're just going to sneak past Bournemouth, and I'm going for a 2-1 victory to the Eagles.
Ooh, well, I believe it's going to be quite a close match, to be honest. Palace, they have phenomenal fans at home. The crowd always get behind them at home. Moyes really turned it around there for the situation they were in at the start of the season with Frank de Boer.
They've turned in those defeats into draws. What he needs to do now is turn those draws into victories.
Turn those draws into wins. Bournemouth, they have struggled a bit this season. They just can't seem to get the goals in. They've had their fair share of losses and draws. I think that Crystal Palace will just get that victory over them. So I believe it's going to be a 1-0 home victory to Crystal Palace. Now, the next fixture is Huddersfield versus Brighton at the John Smith Stadium, whatever that stadium is called now, I don't care. Yeah, Huddersfield, where do we start? Great start to the season, and they're just going...
I think they're going to get relegated this season.
I think they will now.
My prediction video, I said that they were going down, and I think they will ultimately go down.
The one that I regret now putting in for my original predictions for the league was Brighton. I don't think they're going to get relegated. I think they're going to finish middle/top half of the table. But yeah, that's the one I regret. I think it's going to be going down the other team in South Wales, Huddersfield, and Palace.
And what about what score for this weekend's match, though?
Well, going back to this weekend's match, I think, yeah, Brighton, they've been playing really well at the moment. Chris Hughton's doing absolutely phenomenally there.
Even though they got smashed at home last weekend.
By 5-1 at home to Liverpool, but they're gonna want to bounce back after that, and especially going up against a struggling Huddersfield. So for that reason, and that reason only, I'm going to put a 2-1 victory down.
I was thinking the same, however... Brighton, they did get smashed.
Yeah.
Huddersfield also got beat against the other Merseyside club, Everton, 2-0 last week. Of course, Everton have got Big Sam Allardyce in now.
Goodbye, Unsworth.
So I was erring on the side of Brighton, but I think it's just going to end up stalemate, and I can see this ending in a 1-1 draw. Okay, moving on to the next side. We've got the Jacks or Swansea City against West Brom. Swansea can't score. Well,
they can't do anything.
They did score last week against Stoke, of course. They lost 2-1.
They can't score, they can't defend, they can't do this, they can't do that, they can't do anything, and where they're heading is to the Championship.
Well, they're rock bottom at the moment.
Yes, they are, for good
reason. Fans are not happy at all down at Liberty Stadium. West Brom, new manager as well in Pardew.
Yeah.
I think they're going to make them harder to beat, and I think the philosophy is they're actually going to try and play a bit more attacking football. Whether that pays dividends against Swansea, I don't know. However, I was hearing that this was going to be a draw, but I think with the dire form that Swansea are in, okay, they're not conceding that many goals. I can see West Brom sneaking a 1-0 victory.
Well, believe it or not, I saw this online and you told me about this as well, but some of their fans are actually starting to boycott, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because of it, I think they're absolutely mental down there. But anyway, yeah, Pardew, excellent appointment by West Brom. He's a good manager, isn't he? And he's good for a relegation fight.
He's good for a relegation fight. But normally in relegation fights, you'd get the likes of Sam Allardyce, who's gone to Everton.
But normally you get Tony Pulis.
You get Tony Pulis, and who did they boot at the door? Tony Pulis. So they've gone to Pardew. Yeah. Maybe his more attacking brand of football.
Yeah, he is. He's like the attacking relegation man, isn't he? If you think about it.
You could see.
Because like, you got Pulis and Pardew, and they're just like, one's attacking philosophy, one's defending philosophy, and they're good for the relegation fights anyway. But yeah, the other team, their opponents are they're in just dire form, and I can see them having no chance. Pardew's going to want them to be up for it, and I can just see it being a 1-0 West Brom win, and I don't reckon this will happen, but I'm going to put it out there anyway. Clement might be sacked.
I'm going to give it a couple more games, because the board there, they've got to act soon. Do they keep him for the January transfer window, or do they press the panic button now?
They could.
It's tough. We'll see. I think it's going to depend on maybe next week's fixtures, and then we'll see. Moving on to the next match, we got Spurs against Stoke at Wembley. Spurs stuttering form, drawing against Watford, and they're not demolishing teams like they were in the beginning of the season. Ericsson looks tired in midfield. Alderweireld, I think their centre back is still injured, suspended. So, however, they are coming up against Stoke. Stoke had an okay win. They won last weekend. However, at Wembley, I expect Spurs to get back to winning ways. Dele Alli said he's going to, he's trying harder in training and everything. Maybe that'll bring fruition on the pitch in a real match. And I can see Spurs just sneaking this one, 2-1 against Stoke.
2-1, okay.
Stoke will put up a good fight.
Yeah, I can see Stoke putting up a good fight as well. It's just, I don't think they'll be able to create any chances or get through the Tottenham defence. I think Tottenham are just going to be way too strong for them. So for that reason only, I don't think Stoke are going to score, but like you, I'm going to put a 2-0 victory, all unlike you, obviously.
Okay, moving on to the final fixture of Saturday, we've got Newcastle against Leicester City up at St James's Park, or the what is it these days? The stadium.
Yeah.
It's the what's the football place?
Sports Direct Arena. Or St James's Park.
That's right. That's giving it its full name.
Yeah.
Newcastle stuttering as well. I don't think What's Benitez is thinking. Are they going to be selling the club? If they are going to sell the club, are the new investors going to spend any money? If they're not going to sell, they could even go down. So will Benitez, has he been promised money? We don't know. I don't know what's going on at James's Park. At the beginning of the season, I think Newcastle were one of my relegation candidates to go down.
I didn't put them as relegation candidates, you see. That's the thing, I put them mid-table.
They are sliding down. They're actually in 15th position now. And they've lost 5 of their last 6 matches, so it's not looking good. However, they are at home at Leicester, having a great run of form, but I think this is going to end as a 1-1 draw. And Newcastle, in front of their home fans, who, coming up to Christmas, they've got to give their fans something to cheer about, and I think they will with a draw.
Wow, where do we start? Leicester, they've had an excellent start to the season, to be fair.
They turned it around.
Has really turned it around. Because for some reason, when they finish a season, Leicester, they just don't work for the manager. In like September, October, they just don't work for them. And when they get someone new in, the Leicester team just starts to work with them. And just happens with, well, it didn't really happen with Pearson, but they just sacked him. It happened with Ranieri, and it's now happened with Shakespeare.
They're only 5 points behind Spurs as well.
They're only 5 points behind Spurs. They are starting to climb the table. I think they're going to finish mid-table. But, they're doing excellent. Newcastle, what is even going on up there? Mike Ashley is struggling to sell the club. I can tell by his sorry face. But
well, I don't think he actually put it up for sale.
He has put it up for sale.
I think somebody came in with a bid. I think probably all clubs are up for sale ultimately.
No, they did actually. Mike Ashley did actually say that Newcastle was up for sale, but they did have this foreign investment from this woman. I think she was like, I can't remember what she was, but it's quite an expensive deal, which I think Mike Ashley should have taken it because it sounded a pretty decent offer, but I don't think he did. I think he is struggling a bit up there to sell it up, and I think that's hindering them on the pitch.
It all depends if he gets the right price, though.
Yeah, because we could have another Dennis Wise and Stephen McLaren situation that we had 2 seasons ago, which caused them to go down because of all their antics.
Okay, so what do you think of the result for this one?
I reckon it's going to be 2-1 to Leicester.
Okay, then.
Only because I don't think Newcastle will be able to just get through them.
Okay, so moving on to Sunday now.
Okay, so the next fixture we have is Southampton versus Arsenal on the south coast. Now, Arsenal, they've been doing okay. There's still a lot of their fans saying that they want Wenger to go. Some of them are saying Wenger in, but yeah, they've been fairly decent. 75% of their points have come from home fixtures. I think they will struggle against Southampton, but I reckon they will be able to get the goals in, so I'm saying a 2-0 victory. Change that up last minute.
2-0. Yeah, I think Arsenal will be victorious as well. Southampton,
well, they're just not working.
They
might
defensively sound, but not. They're not shutting up shop really. They conceded against Bournemouth. Okay, they did get the draw. They actually I think they look quite good going forward against Bournemouth at times. Southampton, they could have won that match really. They're coming up against an Arsenal team who are coming off the back of a defeat by Manchester United at home, so they're going to want to bounce back, and I can actually see them doing that and going away to Southampton and cutting out a 2-1 narrow victory. Arsenal need to win. They need to get back up into those Champions League places, and we'll see how they do this weekend.
And also, you never know, later on in the season, if Southampton, well, they're picking up form, but if they struggle a bit more, then they might press the panic button on Pellegrino.
They may well do.
You never know.
They may well do. Okay, next up is the Merseyside derby, Liverpool against Everton. Now, asked me this a few weeks ago, I would have said about 4, 5, 6-0 to Everton. To Liverpool. Yeah, to Liverpool. However, Everton have picked up form now since Sam Allardyce has come in.
Big Fat Sam, Big Fat Unsworth, they can sort them out.
And of course it's a derby, so it's going to be a very, very tight game. However, with Liverpool's firepower, I can actually see them carving out a 2-1 victory at Anfield. And at the time of recording, Liverpool have actually just scored a goal. Coutinho in the 4th minute with a penalty against Spartak Moscow. Keep that up. They're going through to the next round. Or they'll win their group in Champions League. I think they'll carry that on to Saturday, as I've just said, and they'll carve out a narrow 2-1 victory. Well, but it's going to be very difficult.
Well, I'm actually going the same as you as well.
Yeah,
2-1. There you go.
Okay,
that's the end.
That's it. Okay, and the final fixture of the weekend is Manchester United against Manchester City.
Another derby.
Another derby. Another massive game. Could this be the title decider?
It could be.
This and the other word. If Pogba would have been in this match, I think I would have gone for a Manchester United victory. He is that vital to the Red Devils. Since he's come back in, they've looked a totally different team. They've been excellent. However, there's no Pogba.
No Pogba.
Manchester City stuttering a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't see them actually beating Manchester United on the weekend, and I think it's going to end up as a draw.
Ooh, okay.
I can't see Mourinho allowing Pep to win this match. They're going to shut up shop. I don't think it's going to be 1-0. I think there may be a goal or two. Maybe Mr. Ibrahimovic is going to pop up with a goal as
he has in the past.
As we know that he's a big game player, and we know Lukaku, his form has dried right up. Okay, he scored in Champions League last night. Maybe he'll go on these runs again. However, I think it's going to end up in a draw.
Well, believe it or not, I think I've gone completely different to you. But I'll tell you who I think's going to win in a minute. But I reckon Jose Mourinho, as he is called, he is going to get the biggest bus he can find from that depot, and he's going to park it straight in front of that goal because it's against Man City. And they have just so strong in attack. Even at home, they're going to park that bus.
Away, they do it at home though, yeah?
Yeah, even at home, I think they're going to do it.
I know their record isn't that great against Man top City, of the table sides,
especially Man City at the moment in the last couple of years. But I think Man City are just going to be way too strong for their defence. Sane just going to run straight through, and Raheem, same with Raheem as well. Aguero with his shooting power. I actually think it's going to be a 2-0 victory to Manchester City, who are currently drawing 0-0 with Shakhtar Donetsk. However you say that.
So maybe that could be another factor. Man City having one day less. They're playing away as well. I think Man United played at home. So that could be a factor, and that's why I'm going for a draw. Okay, so that's our results, our predictions for this weekend. Remember, as always, in the comments section, make your predictions. I'll leave a template, as I usually do. Make your predictions, and like Johnny Cluett, who had a resounding score of 14 this weekend, you too could have a shout out in the next video. Just a reminder as well, guys, we had 1 or 2 people predicting the scores after the teams had actually kicked off. So remember to get your scores in 12 o'clock GMT time, for you to have a chance of getting a shout out in the next video. But for now, we'll bid you farewell. I'm off to do some work, and we'll see you in the next video.
Cheers, guys.